Hello. Welcome to episode 62 of Cutscene Convos.
Hello.
This week we have a character profile on Ted Cord. We'll be discussing Mandalorian episode 5. We'll be doing a little review and breakdown of Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, as well as discussing many trailers that we've had this week, including Blue Beetle, Secret Invasion, and Spider-Verse, before wrapping things up with Ghul versus Gorilla Grodd in our superhero showdown. But before all that good stuff, Ori, how's your week been?
My week's been. I don't honestly don't have a fucking clue what's going on this week. Like it feels like it's been the weirdest week. It really has.
Bouch.
I'm trying to remember what I even did at the weekend. It's been one of those. I know, like I've been finishing off work projects because KCP's. So the Rocket League major starts tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah, tonight. UK time anyway. So they're playing in that, so finishing off all the stuff for that. It's kind of been work side of things. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a weird one. I have like no recollection of what I did at the weekend. Probably just gamed. My brain's a bit in a weird one.
You're a bit frazzled.
Yeah, I don't know. I think focused on getting these projects done, and then it's just like, yeah, one of them weeks. You know how it be.
I do indeed.
Other than that, I mean, it's been a pretty chill, pretty good week. Usual stuff. How's your week? How's your week of the working world been?
It's not been too bad. Just setting some new things up. I had to get a new work laptop. Because I mean, my one was a second-hand one when I started, and just I don't think people realize how poor quality ports on laptops actually are, because they don't really expect people to be plugging in and out of them constantly, especially like the Ethernet ports and that. But because of my role, I do have to do that. So like one that was already being used for a little while with another 15-ish months on it, it's just finally gone no more. Let me rest. So I requested that on Monday, and I got it today, which for anyone who's ever worked in a corporate environment knows how wild that is.
Yeah.
But me and my IRLs have started a new Minecraft server. So as anyone who's ever played Minecraft before knows, that is now taking up every waking moment of my consciousness.
Yeah. Pretty standard to as soon as the server starts. You end up doing like 24 hours.
Yeah, just absolutely DJing on it. I was sitting here playing it before we started recording, and my eyes were periodically flicking down to make sure it wasn't like 8:30 and that I just kept you waiting.
Sorry, I was playing Project Zomboid,
Yeah.
which is like another survival sandbox game. So it's like, 8 o'clock.
But yeah, it's been good. It's just I've got a busy couple of weeks going away to Ireland next week. We've got bank holidays over Easter and stuff, so just trying to plan ahead in a project orientated environment can be tricky. But we had a big world in the nerd world. We got our first Blue Beetle trailer.
We did.
We got our second Spider-Verse trailer and our second Secret Invasion trailer. In honor of the Blue Beetle trailer, I decided I'd do a character profile. On someone who I don't believe is in the film. By the name of Ted Cord. Okay. So, Theodore Stephen, or Ted Cord, first appeared in Secret Origins Volume 2, Number 2 in May of 1986.
Okay.
Ted Cord grew up with the wealth from his father's business, Cord Omniversal Research and Development. However, he did not rest on this and instead yearned for knowledge. As a very naturally intelligent man, he ended up receiving degrees in physics, English lit, and theoretical mathematics. Not only was he obviously very intelligent, he also had a knack for being quite good at almost anything he tried pretty quickly. However, after graduating from university with his degrees in physics, English literature, and theoretical mathematics, he elected not to join his father's business because he felt a little bit lost. So he went out searching for meaning in his life.
The gap year.
Yes. While off trying to find himself, he discovered that his uncle was planning to take over the world. He enlisted the help of his archaeology teacher, Dan Garrett, the first Blue Beetle, to stop his uncle. But when they finally tracked down Ted's uncle and fought him, Dan was badly wounded and died. And he asked Ted to continue on in his name. However, the scarab that Dan and later Jaime use as the Blue Beetle wouldn't work for Ted.
Well, that's awkward.
Yeah, so instead Ted trained himself to peak human condition and used his intelligence and intellect to create gadgets and devices to aid him as a crime fighter, including his aerial vehicle known as the Bug.
So he's Bugman.
He is Blue Beetle. He is the second Blue Beetle. But interestingly enough, Ted Cord is also the Blue Beetle who was very good friends with Booster Gold. And I'll discuss it more when we discuss the Blue Beetle trailer. But there is a pretty significant reason I decided to do Ted as our character profile. That was kind of teased in the trailer, which I'll explain in a bit more depth. But yeah, Ted Cord was the second Blue Beetle. That's a little bit about who he is,
Very
how
cool.
he came to be. Maybe next week we'll do the original Blue Beetle, Dan Garrett. I don't know too much about him myself. Could be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cool. Anyway.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Is really desperate to be in that GOAT debate with Favreau and Filoni, ain't she? She
is. She also really wants to try. She really likes to rile up the salty Star Wars fans, doesn't she?
Yeah, there were some proper weird takes online. Chronically online takes is what they were.
They're who I would call the old and stuck in their ways Star Wars fans in quotation marks, who had issues with this week's episode, which is
they also have no taste.
Well, yeah,
this week's episode slapped.
They also just don't know how to have fun.
No, yeah, there is this big kind of thing in all fandoms where you have a lot of these like diehards who just hate fun.
Yes, it has to be serious.
Yeah,
because apparently, I'm sorry, but whoever thinks adding Jack Black into something isn't making it a great thing, they're wrong.
Jack Black is the actor. He is the bacon of the acting world. You add bacon to a meal, it is better. You add Jack Black to a project, it is better. Yeah,
just like it's never worse. Honestly, I really enjoyed the cameos. I thought it was great. Jack Black and Lizzo is like a duo. It was great, great vibes. And then getting Christopher Lloyd, I thought was fun.
I almost cried.
It
really caught me off guard.
Well, it's like, so the moment when Christopher Lloyd gets revealed, I guess, or like he makes his first appearance this episode, is like you hear him talking, and I was like, huh, that sounds like Doc from Fast to the Future.
Doc, yeah.
Back to the Future, and it's like, wait, that really sounds. Wait, that is Doc from. I was like, holy shit, they've got Christopher Lloyd in. Like he's finally in Star Wars.
I was sat there and I literally did the exact same thing. Because I was still trying to, because I'm not as familiar with Lizzo. So as they went in that scene, I was like, I feel like that woman is someone we should know as well. Was that Lizzo? And Jenna was like, oh, I think so. We didn't Google it right then, but I was pretty sure. Okay, so that's Jack Black and Lizzo. That's kind of wild. And then it goes into the next scene. Now it's like, wait. That's Doc.
Yeah, it's like, so they end up going to this planet looking for the Mandalorian crew, which we'll get onto, but like you hear Jack Black's voice, so instantly I'm like, holy shit, that's Jack Black, and you can see him, and it's like, this is already great. I love this. They've got Jack Black in Star Wars. How can this not be great? Then I was like, wait, that it took me a second. I knew who it was, but putting the name back in my I was like, it took a while for it to click. But yeah, him and Lizzo actually make a great dynamic. I thought it was funny. Bit of fun. I like this idea of this planet that is trying to be peaceful. It was this weird, like, we are democratic and everyone is equal. No one has to work anymore. We have droids for that. It was a very weird episode all round with like references. I really thought
it was going to be like a droids' rights episode.
So yeah, see, I was like, I didn't really know. I mean, let's be honest. Anytime there's old droids, like the battle droids are in, I'm like, well, something's gonna go wrong with them. They're never correctly refurbished.
Yeah.
But then yeah, we get then we're like straight after Jack Black and Lizzo, it's like, oh, here's Christopher Lloyd as well, like cameo season.
After that, I did find myself just looking around constantly, going, "Is that another A-lister?"
Well, then it's like we get other references throughout the show. It was very much a cameo and reference heavy. But yeah, so we get this episode, other than like the fun stuff, was we get to see an alien love story, which
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, it seems like she always managed to slip one of those in to her directing episode. But there's like a Empire cruiser, like a battleship, and I'm like, what the my initial thought, I was like, oh shit, it's
Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon. I was like, my man's is out. And then it was the crew, Bo-Katan's old crew, who I was like, then like, how the fuck have they got themselves a destroyer? Like, it's a wild ship to acquire. Sent mercenaries fire, sets them up as we're going to be revisiting them. So then Mando and Bo go off to find them, and
R15.
Yeah, and end up on this weird planet, get introduced to Jack Black and Lizzo, who want them to help them out with something. Use the whole, oh, it's fine, you're allowed to carry weapons because it's part of your culture.
Yeah.
We're just going to use that political loophole.
Yeah, because Jack Black's character was part of the Empire, they're not allowed to have like an army or anything.
Yeah, he's
with him being like the
re-established.
Yeah. Which is the second time we've seen a little bit of them just allowing people from the Empire to kind of cut about without much oversight.
Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, here's your new rules to follow. But it's fine, carry on.
And it also shows how easy it was for them to get around the rules they put in place.
Yeah, like classic political loopholes. It was an interesting. So yeah, basically they're like, oh, do this job, help us figure out this situation, and then we'll sort out you going to see the Mandalorian mercenaries. So they end up basically a task. There's like droids run everything in the city.
Yes.
And old battle droids, old Imperial droids. I thought this was going to be, oh shit, this is how Mando gets the parts for his assassin droid. I thought that's where this was going to go. No. It turns out it's the old separatists. It's always the separatists. Never went away.
Good old fashioned fucking separatist throwback. I love the shout out to Dooku.
Yes. So basically they end up they go along trying to figure out what these droids are. There's some funny moments, like Mando, when they go down to like the dock bit, and there's the big beefy battle droids. I forget which ones they're called, but he's like, Bo's trying to find out information, so Mando's like, nah, fuck this, and starts kicking them and pushing them around, like, just like, does like clearly hate. We all know Mando doesn't like droids, So he's just like taking out his internal anger on them. I thought it was funny. And then he like kicks one that is malfunctioned and it just full on backhands him. And you think that kind of felt like it came from a place of resentment.
That was a bitch slap.
Yeah, that was a droid being like, no, we've had our shit with you.
Yeah, no, seeing a super battle droid in live action again felt so good.
Oh yeah, they looked so good. But yeah, they figure out, like, they end up chasing down, capturing it. Then they talk to the I forgot their race is called, the droid workshop guys. Oh, my brains.
Caloonies, Canales, something like that.
Yeah, it'll come to me. Which I thought we saw, like, it did showcase, although this episode was, I would say, more of a side episode. They
Yes.
dripped in some pretty like important moments, sort of, that you pick up on. Like, Bo's trying to be the leader and lead the Mandalorians, but then Mando's proven himself to be quite the kind of diplomat. He
Yes.
understands these different cultures and different races. Like, he knew how to speak um to the droid guys and like understood how to get information out of them because of how they, like, not saying there's something wrong with your droids because they take that as disrespect, and saying, oh, I was friends with another one of you, and how
It
he,
kind of shows how well traveled he is at this point,
yes,
doesn't it?
which shows a fun dynamic, I think, between Bo and Mando we're gonna get, which is she's gonna lead them, and I think Mando's gonna end up being the one that is like the face for them to other, like, the Senate and stuff like that, and tries to be the diplomat of them, potentially.
Yeah. What would you call it? A foreign affairs officer.
Yes, that sort of idea. I get that feeling. But yeah, they figure it out. Turns out it's Doc. Doc's been up to a
Bit of a mischief.
And he freaking quotes Dooku, saying he was cut off in his prime. I'm sorry, he was in his prime at the age he was when he got.
Yes, he was. Dooku never dies.
But yeah, we got the Dooku reference.
They're setting up somehow Dooku returned.
Oh, don't. I liked though that it was the fact of, now this is separatists like still cutting about, because they're basically
wild, doesn't it? He must have been so young as well.
Yeah, he's like, do you know why it works? Because obviously Christopher Lloyd, he's playing quite an elderly character. It's like he is that generation of, like, when the old generation are like, back when in the war, and like they're stuck in that political era. But yeah, he's basically been sabotaging droids, which was interesting. And I think it works well because it was battle droids. So it really ties together it working with it. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That separatist shit. Like, sure. So they catch him. Jack Black and Lizzo are super happy and playing games with Grogu, helping them cheat. And then they go and check out the ridiculous Mandalorian fleet. Like, they are. I'm sorry, they're fucking stacked.
Mandalorians get paid well as mercenaries, I can imagine.
Yeah, and also Bo kind of led the idea of, like, they acquired that destroyer when she was still part of them, as in they yoinked that from someone.
I'd love to see that done as like a 15-20 minute short.
Just them boarding and taking over a destroyer, and then just
them seeing a Star Destroyer and going, "Hey yo, lads, what if
we took that and that's our main ship?"
What if we just went, "Hey yo, that's mine now, cuz."
But yeah, they go and have the audience with Vax Wolves.
Wolf.
Is it Wolf? Basically, he's like, nah, bitch.
You don't even have the Darksaber, bitch.
This my squad
I ain't
now.
listening to you.
And then she goes, well, I'll challenge you to a fight. I thought the fight was good. I enjoyed.
a number of times I kind of went, ooh, it looked more like an actual fight. It looked a little bit scrappier.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit scrappier, and kind of Bo really showing like she can go toe to toe with any Mandalorian, not just like um
Do not fuck with
creatures.
Bo.
Yeah, and but then he's just like, well, that's fine, you beat me, but you still don't have the Darksaber,
Yeah.
so don't matter if you beat me, ain't nobody gonna follow you. So then Mando, being the diplomatic person that he is like, well, in technicality, uh, I lost the saber, and Bo defeated the person that defeated me. So technically, this is yours. Here, take it. Now you can see. There we go. We got around that issue. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, it's interesting because like the internet had been moaning about that after the episode where Bo saved him. It's like, well, surely Bo's the rightful owner of the Darksaber now. Star Wars breaking their own law again.
Yeah,
And
but
then it's just like, and like, obviously they've already written and filmed these episodes before that criticism, and they're just like, yeah, we're gonna get them some bitches.
yeah. I
It's not
honestly
breaking
wasn't.
law if it's a plot point.
I'll be honest. I wasn't expecting him to just hand it over.
He never really wanted it though.
No, he
Like he tried to
didn't.
give it to her straight away back when he beat
Yeah,
Moff Gideon. He was like, I
he,
don't want this. Fucking
I.
take it.
But you know what? It makes it. At first, I was like a bit surprised, but I was like, this makes total sense. Like, yeah, he didn't want it. Also, like we've talked about like we're predicting that Grogu is going to become the leader of Mandalore. Like he's going to be the Mandalorian Jedi. He would never challenge Mando to take. Like he's never going to challenge Mando to take it. So in a way, it needs to go to Bo to set up in the future Grogu getting it off Bo.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get a Din Bo conflict anymore.
I don't think we are. Yeah, no, I think this quells that.
I thought if that blade wouldn't have been given over now, we'd have had a couple more of these instances where no one respected Bo because she didn't have the Darksaber. So she went, right, give me the fucking sword. And he's like, no. So then she has to beat him for it.
I think you're gonna have Mando being this like diplomatic figure for them, which also means Grogu's traveling with him and learning all these things that Mando has, like of how these different races and cultures are and like how to interact with them. Because then when it comes down, like years down the line, when we think that like Grogu's going to become the leader of Mandalore, like he'll have all Din's knowledge, plus he's a Jedi and can wield the Darksaber. Like he's that perfect blend. But yeah, it was an interesting end. But then that also now means they're all going to follow her. Like they are a fucking stacked force.
We have a large amount of Mandalorians cutting about together.
And do you know what I think we're going to end up having? Whoever. So here's the thing. I have two theories now about the Moff Gideon. We saw Beskar alloy. Either there's some bad Mandalorians cutting about that did that, or they got like someone's trying to set up Mandalorians, or it was these guys, Axe and his crew, and then it's gonna come out to Bo and stuff that we got hired to free Moff Gideon, and then there's gonna be some conflict there.
I think they're being set up, but I think it's going to lead to conflict between them and the New Republic, because what the New Republic are going to see is Mandalorian metal that freed Moff Gideon, and then a load of Mandalorians grouping up together, making their presence actually known for the first time in fuck knows how long with Imperial equipment. And you're gonna we're gonna see what we're kind of already seeing, where the New Republic overreact.
Yeah. So I have a couple of ideas. I think either they're being set up, and like you say, we're gonna have this conflict of I think X-Wing pilot guy is gonna hear that they've discovered its Mandalorian alloy or Beskar alloy. The Empire or the Republic's gonna be like, oh shit, Mandalorians are doing bad shit.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time they've worked with the dark side.
Come across this. Oh, there's a large collection of them on this planet. It must be them. Or my other theory is there is a old clan, like the ones that were the. You won't have seen them, but there was like a. They weren't called the. I can't remember what they called themselves, but there was a clan in Rebels that we got to see who were kind of evil Mandalorians in a way. Like they had their own like code against things. Either they're helping Moff Gideon or it's like an old clan that's still affiliated to Darth
Sith.
yeah, to the Sith and stuff.
There's definitely some options cutting about. It's gonna be really
We could
interesting.
have a very sick space battle.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. It's
Like
Star Wars for a reason. Give me some war.
in the stars.
Yeah.
But yeah, like some fans seem to like fans quotation marks were salty. Oh, it's just chucking celebrities in it. This didn't feel like it had any direction. I really enjoyed the episode. I'm always a fan of like liked actors. Like the people, even the ones that didn't like the episode, can't deny they don't like Jack Black or like Christopher Lloyd, and it's just fun to see them get to have their part in the Star Wars universe.
I'm just gonna say it. Bryce Dallas Howard knew what she was doing casting them actors, and she knew that Lizzo would force the fans that she doesn't want to out themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It is that simple. She was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna work out who's people like on the internet who I care about and who I don't care about, and then we're gonna go from there.
Like I saw a couple like things on TikTok, and it's like people were genuinely annoyed that Lizzo fed Grogu, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
How are you like? How are you that salty that you're picking things like that to be mad about?
I do wonder if they had just been regular characters and not like superstars in them roles, if people would have even given a fuck. Because if they've got an issue with the storytelling itself, I'm willing to hear them out. But the fact that they go straight to, oh my god, it's Jack Black and Lizzo, what's the fucking point? You're just like, well, what's your actual problem?
Yeah, like they're fun actors. Why is it not cool to see them in Star Wars? It's not like Jack Black's trying to play a Sith.
Yeah.
He's playing a bubbly lord of a like person in charge of a planet. Like he played a character that he fits. All of them did. Christopher Lloyd, in a way, played a very like he fits playing like an old man who's still a separatist.
Yeah, you can see him at like a Dooku rally 50 years ago.
So I thought overall it was a good episode, and
so I really enjoyed it.
I do think this season is going to end with Moff Gideon revealing himself. I would like a fight, but I don't know if we will get a fight.
I am growing increasingly concerned as someone who is all too used to some of my favorite characters dying impromptu, like out of nowhere. The fact that there's not going to be a Din Bo conflict, and that Bo is such a beloved character from Clone Wars and now this, that they might
Nah, I think I know who's going to die.
Go on.
I think the X-wing pilot guy is going to die. He's going to get stuck in the middle, trying to warn them, and he's going to get himself caught out.
Maybe we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Movie of the week. There was only one movie. We went to see it.
There was
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Oh. So I think the simplest way I can break down my opinions on it before we get really into it is it is very similar to Shazam and Ant-Man, but it doesn't take a nosedive off a cliff in the third act.
Yeah, you can.
So like they were both decent to good, enjoyable films. Then the third act, it all just goes a bit haywire. D&D just fucking rides that wave. If they want to release another one of these films every like 2 or 3 years with a brand new A-list cast, I'm down. I'll go watch it.
Well, yeah. So the simplest way is like it was a fantasy. It was a fun fantasy film through and through. It didn't try to be too meta. It didn't try to like make too many meta jokes about D&D or lean too heavily into things. Um, it was just a good, fun fantasy film all the way through, and it had its emotional moments. It had its funny comedy moments. I don't really feel like it went wrong anywhere. And like you say, it's very easy for them. They could quite happily do these every 2 or 3 years. The D&D official D&D world is so huge. Like they can very easily just be like, here's another group of adventurers.
Yeah.
And they'll just have very small like location. So look like, oh, we were here in the last film, same city. Like stuff like that. Or like random odd like background characters show up again because they don't really mean much. You could very easily do that and it'd be good every time. It didn't try to be more than what it was. Like it didn't try to create this big, like it was set up who the main characters were, bit of backstory, which I thought was a fun throw on kind of like the D&D of like, there's a bit of my backstory for my character, how I got here. And then it's like, they had a goal, they reached goal, bit of conflict, bit of a twist. Then they beat the big bad. Pretty standard campaign arc in a D&D game. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Do
Do you know what I do want to shout out?
Go on.
Hugh Grant.
Yes.
He was so good.
He played great. His character was so great.
So I'm just grabbing a bit of information quickly to make sure I've got this right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, cool. So Hugh Grant is very anti-Tory.
Okay.
He is very, very left-leaning, especially when Boris Johnson was in charge.
Fair.
Is it just me, or did the evil con man political guy, the way he kind of stuttered and blabbled and give you Boris Johnson vibes?
Yes, now that you put it like out like that, yeah. It was very much Boris Johnson political,
You could
I'm a
see
lord.
if someone didn't like Boris Johnson and they felt like they were playing a character like that, they could go, maybe Boris is good for something.
Yeah, and there was like some funny moments that you could like the whole, I don't want to see you die, so I'm going to leave the room.
Yeah, no, I mean, Hugh Grant was really good. I mean, it feels weird because he did kind of disappear for a while after he had his huge, like, domination of rom-coms in the mid to late 2000s. He kind of disappeared for a little while to do some other things. He was really good in this.
Yeah, he was perfect for it. He fit that, like, kind of comedy from that character really well. Honestly, I think all the actors and actresses were great for their roles and what their characters were. I really enjoyed it.
There are a lot of films that you can spend 2 hours watching for fun that aren't as fun. Looking at you, Fast and Furious.
Let's not get started on
that. Just as long as Dwayne The Rock Johnson gets kept away from this franchise, I think it'll do fine.
He will, because Vin Diesel is a huge D&D nerd.
Ah, okay, cool.
So we're more likely to see Vin Diesel in it, and if we see Vin Diesel in it, Rock ain't going anywhere near it because they don't get along.
I think Vin Diesel could be a lot of fun.
So here's my thing. I now hope the success, because it's done very well at the box office.
I think it's done better than expected. I don't think numbers-wise it's been like insane, but I think compared to what the expectation was, it's done quite well.
And for a lot of people that probably actually don't have a clue what D&D is, like, would probably have gone and seen it because it's a fantasy film. If we get a second one, I would love to see like the celebrities like Vin Diesel and stuff that have been vocal about D&D and are fans of it. Like little cameos would be fun, and also get people like Critical Role. If some of those guys, like, you could literally have them at a table in a tavern, just dressed as the Critical Role characters, like the Vox Machina characters. I think that would be
Yeah.
fucking hilarious.
It'd be a really, really, really fun little Easter egg, bit of laugh. It'd be great.
There was a lot of very. So here's the thing: it's like, as I said, it's just face value. It's a great fantasy film, fantasy adventure.
Hmm.
For the D&D fans, there was plenty of little D&D Easter eggs and fun kind of nods to how things play out. The whole asking the dead questions,
That was so funny. I loved it so much.
it it was exactly as it would go. And then that situation of being like, ah shit, we still need to ask 2 more questions, so the guy dies. So he asks the most random questions. 100% would happen in a group of
Yeah.
friends playing. And the whole bridge, him being like, "Oh, I stepped on it and just yeah, that I didn't realize it started here." To then go, "Oh, we have this item that completely bypasses the DM's puzzle with perfect ease. Oh yeah, here we go. We're going to use this instead." That to me was like, I've done that many a time to a DM, and they've been very salty.
What I will say is I really enjoyed that the characters didn't know they were on a mission to save the world. They thought they were doing a heist mission.
Yes.
It's only after they've completed the heist and then they've seen the fucking cloud forming in the sky, they've gone, oh shit, this is the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that because it meant that they were a little bit more relaxed and they were a bit more goofy, and you don't find yourself going, can you take this a bit more fucking seriously?
Well, that again like leans into the idea of what D&D games end up being. It's like, oh, here's a quest to go collect an item, and you're like, yeah, sure, we'll do it for gold. You hand the item over, and then you're like, shit, we just gave the wrong person a very powerful item. Shit.
Yeah.
Oh well, we'll go do a
And
different heist.
yeah, and I enjoyed that. I also liked because we have to be honest here. We both shit on the dead hero trope at the end of Shazam.
Yes.
I'm going to give D&D a pass for that because the second she got hit and it looked like she was going to die, everyone knew that she wasn't going to die because they had the healing cup and they were going to decide to
The tablet. Yeah.
resurrect her instead of bring the mother back. So it wasn't actually a faking a death. It was just
No.
they're going to have to give up what they wanted so
Yep.
they can have what they already had. So
Yeah.
that's why I didn't hate that as much, because the second I realized she was like fatally hit, I was like, okay, cool. So they'd agree to not save the mother to bring her back instead.
I'm gonna be my. I don't know if that tablet exists in D&D, but I would guess that's their take on like the wish spell, which is
Yeah.
essentially in D&D you can wish anything at the DM's discretion. It's like their way of trying to play into like there is an ability to do anything, like so bring anybody back no matter what. But it's like a one-time use. I did like that they set the precedent very early on when the bard character, I forget the name, the bard character, he's talking about how his wife died and there was no clerics able to resurrect. Like they make the precedent of like this is D&D, like people get revived, brought back from the dead. That's very normal.
But red witches you can't be saved
But
from.
yeah, there's certain things that you can't be resurrected from. So it shows that like not everybody dies, but there are things that are finite, like final. So it did very good at balancing, I think, where a lot of films that are based on games or other things, they lean sometimes too heavy into the game or being meta about like making references.
If you go too meta, you alienate people who just want to give the film a go. But if you don't go meta enough, the diehard fans are going to be like, "What the fuck was that? You just slapped the name on this. It's just a money grab."
Yeah, like there was.
And I think that actually threaded the needle really well.
Yeah, they balanced between nods to items and different things of D&D world and obviously the location names. But it felt like it didn't feel like things were forced or like things flowed very well and moments happened as that you would expect them to.
And I've got to be honest, I enjoyed the Michelle Rodriguez's character, the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
Like they thought enough about the character to go, okay, this Barbarian, they have a thing for halflings. So we meet her ex-husband who's a halfling. Then at the end, there's a halfling giving her a award, and she's like, "Hey, what are you doing later?"
Yeah,
It's just it's actually thinking about the character.
it's also just like exactly what would happen in D&D. there's always one of the characters that has like the weird fling. There was a lot of great moments from that film. I
Uh-huh.
really enjoyed it. I do hope there's a second one.
I do as well.
Happily watch more.
Indeed. My God,
Oh,
was there a lot of trailers this week?
there really was. It was like I feel like I shared. Oh, we're getting a Secret Invasion trailer. Oh, well, so now getting Blue Beetle trailer. Oh,
Yeah.
and Secret Invasion trailer's out. Oh, so is the Blue Beetle trailer.
Yeah. And then after all that, Sony was kind of like, "Fuck, we want some attention." Just
Yeah.
threw out a Spider-Verse trailer. It was craziness. So we're gonna go through all of them. We're gonna start off with the Blue Beetle trailer.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, from that trailer, that suit is the best live-action suit I think I've ever seen. If it looks that good in the final film, my God.
Do you know why it looks so good? Because I'm pretty sure, going off the trailer, a lot of it is a practical suit.
Yes.
And
there were set photos showing that it was very
Yeah.
much practical.
Too much with Marvel have moved away from it to digital. Like, and there's something.
The Star Wars style of a lot of practical and then touched up with CGI
Well,
is
it's like
always going to look the
practical
best.
suit with like CGI face adjustments for like expression, especially with like full suits, always work great. Works with Spider-Man. Looks great in Spider-Man. So yeah, suit looks incredible.
So damn good.
Honestly,
Film looks fun.
Yeah, the film looks fun. The transformation when he gets the scarab, like, shows like it's fucking brutal when that scarab like embeds itself and gives you a suit. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't try to soften it all up, if that makes sense.
No.
Like, they're staying pretty true.
It seems like a genuinely terrifying experience, which
Yeah.
is what it would be.
I really like how what they've shown so far anyway.
So with the main character being Jaime, who's obviously of Mexican descent,
Mhm.
the big question is going to be when the film comes out is if Mexican families go, "Oh, that feels realistic." They feel like realistic interactions.
Yeah, if they have nailed like Mexican culture and family culture, then
Yeah.
which obviously
Because
we will only find out once those Mexicans and Spanish people go see it. So
because if they just lean on stereotypes and then Mexican families come out like going, "That's not what it's like at all. That's just stereotypes." I mean, you kind of go, "What's the point then?" But my God, that looked good. But I want to talk about the couple of bits that led to this week's character profile being Ted Cord.
Okay.
So at one point, we see them going towards a building that has Cord Industries written at the very top of it.
Oh, interesting.
And also, his family got in the bug. At one point, you see them in this weird little flying thing. That's the bug. So,
okay.
I don't know if Ted Cord's cutting about or already dead in this world, but Cord Industries is very much about. And I've got a feeling that woman that's like that belongs to me is the new, is like the new owner of Cord Industries after Ted's death. So that's why they had all the Blue Beetle equipment, and she was trying to work out how to get the scarab to work for her because it obviously never worked for Ted.
Possibly.
But the good news is, with Ted Cord not being teased or confirmed in the DCU at any point, we could still have a DCU. This film could still be the DCU.
Yeah, so here's the thing. This film, like, we've had no mention of Blue Beetle in any of the other stuff. Obviously, the last few DC films that have come out have obviously still been part of the old DCU and were written during that time, so they're very kind of heavy leaning into setting up this big DCEU world, which is kind of unfortunately put them on the chopping block. Here's hoping Blue Beetle isn't.
When he did, when James Gunn did his slate, he did mention Blue Beetle as like near the beginning of the DCU. So I think them films before Superman Legacy that were already in the works, I think he's going to go based on fan reception.
I think so. Here's what I'm thinking is, like, if they haven't written hard into like DCEU stuff, and it can very much float there where it wants. With you mentioning the whole Ted Cord thing, and then in the character profile you mentioned about if you lose link with Booster Gold, same time period, right? He's doing a Booster Gold film, James Gunn is.
Mm.
He
Not wrong.
maybe will tie this
No,
in.
Booster Gold's a TV show.
Oh, TV show, sorry.
It's a
But
Booster
still,
Gold project though. Yeah.
yeah. But there's Booster Gold is going to be in the DCU. He could use that as a way to link this in if they are able to. I think we both said it once we watched the trailer was we really hope they don't like die hard tie this into DCU because it will put its future at jeopardy.
Don't. I really hope they've not tried to, because there's always a danger for the writers writing this project back when they thought the DCEU was staying. That like, okay, we want to build ourselves right into this so that we get more work, and I get that.
Oh yeah.
But in retrospect, you might have screwed yourself out of work now if you're so deeply tied into the DCEU that you can't back out.
Yeah, and obviously these films were written years ago. Like it's been a long time in the works before the DCU was even a thing. And it's not their fault, like if they've already pre-tied themselves in. We're just hoping they haven't. Or in editing them able to like skirt around that stuff. But it looks good.
I mean, it looks fun, but it is just going to be another origin story film.
It is. I think it'll be at least a bit more enjoyable in the sense of like it's a character we don't know, we haven't.
The action, the little bits of action we get in the trailer look pretty physical, so I'm hoping we've got some good fight scenes mixed in there as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's the whole thing with everyone's super hyped because the Cloud Strafe sword is now technically DC canon. The fucking Buster sword.
But yeah, no, it looks really cool and I'm very excited. Blue Beetle, when I realised it was coming to the big screen, was a project I was quite excited for. And that trailer hasn't disappointed.
No, it hasn't at all.
On to the Secret Invasion trailer. Trailer 2.
Other side of the wall in Marvel's camp.
Yeah, my god. This show is gonna be gritty.
It is. Now it seems like it's a lot more. Well, I mean, we knew it was going to be focused around Nick Fury, but it seems to be way more focused around him than I thought it was going to be.
It is a Nick Fury show.
Yeah. It looks great.
It does. So, based on what I kind of get out of the trailer, it seems like Talos, the Skrull we met in Captain Marvel, and the Skrull who was pretending to be Nick Fury in No Way Home. It looks like he has kind of called Nick Fury back because there's a bunch of Skrulls who are now against the humans, and Talos is still like, no, you guys gave us a home and looked after us all them years ago. I don't want to betray you. These guys are going fucking nuts, though.
Yeah, I get the sense.
Kind of vibe I got.
I got the sense of like he's reached out to Nick, being like, shit's getting wild, but Nick was already aware and on his way back. He's like, yeah, that's why I'm back. Like I know. And essentially, like you say, it seems like shit's got out of control a bit, which is going to be interesting to see. Like we've constantly talked about the fact that like anyone could be a Skrull, and we're not going to know. I think the big part, I hope they like in the first episode they make clear is when Nick Fury left. Like I feel like
I think that's going to be a bit of a tease that's going to end up being the big reveal at the end. And we're going to find out that we've never actually seen the real Nick Fury other than in Captain Marvel.
See, I kind of want. I'd like to know from when he left pretty early on, because then it's like, okay, throughout the whole series, you're gonna not trust anything.
So I feel like someone worked out in Captain Marvel. She says, "Tell me something so obscure about yourself, no one can make it up," and it's the I can only eat it if it's cut diagonally.
Yeah.
But in Age of Ultron,
he doesn't
eat some toast that's cut straight down. So everyone's because that's like a very real detail that Marvel traditionally wouldn't overlook.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's kind of like, okay, so he was at least gone by Age of Ultron.
Mm. Well, yeah, that's the thing. People know have seen that, so they have that understanding. But he could have been gone for ages. It's going to be interesting to see who else has not been who we think they are.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I feel we're gonna have a couple of big cliffhangers at the end of different episodes.
I
The
also,
espionage vibe looks great.
yeah, very much espionage. The bit as well where Rhodey is like, "You are the most wanted man." So there's obviously word gets around that he be like that he is wanted now. So like, there's gonna be very much of who is gonna help Nick Fury and who isn't. Who's he gonna trust?
I'm also really curious to learn more about Jenna Coleman's character. It is Jenna Coleman, isn't it? I've not just given the wrong fucking name. I've given the wrong name. It's not Jenna Coleman.
Which character?
It's a different Coleman. The English lady, Olivia Coleman.
Oh, yes.
So that Olivia Coleman is who I think might be playing Union Jack.
Yes.
Although it's not been confirmed, it's just been heavily rumored. And Union Jack is a Captain Britain character.
I think it's going to be a case of like he can't trust anyone on the US side, so he goes to her because she's one of the few people that knew he left planet.
Yeah, I am very, very curious because if she is Union Jack, that really sets up some of the bigger European superheroes, especially with Black Knight recently becoming a thing and Eternals being set in London. You're like you're just getting your little groundworks in there. And I think a Captain Britain film could actually be a lot of fun.
I agree. I think it's going to be a very interesting series.
Of course, we knew it had already been delayed, but now we have the date for when it's actually coming out now. First episode is June 20th.
Yep. Not that far off, really.
No, it's really not. It does kind of mean the holiday I had planned is going to fall right in the middle of that series, though, which is fun.
Ooh.
Yeah. Gotta love Marvel just changing dates on us, but we move.
Just change your holiday. Smile.
Yeah. Maybe one day when we're big time, I'll be able to change holidays like that. And then we get our third, final, and ironically most hype trailer.
Yes, we get the new Spider-Verse trailer.
In the Spider-Verse Across the Spider-Verse trailer.
And we get a bit more of an insight into this League of Spider-Man situation.
Yeah, so once again, I'm going to put my hat on here.
Oh,
and based off the context clues of the trailer, I'm trying to give an overview of what I think the plot is.
Okay.
So, Miles says a couple of times throughout the trailer, we save everyone. That's what Spider-Man does.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, we don't save everyone. That's the point. We can't save everyone. I think the mentioning of Uncle Ben tells us everything we need to know.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben is the person they couldn't save. And Miles has someone he can't save.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Miguel says, no, you can never join us because you've now fucked stuff up by saving that person who I believe is going to be his dad. And that is why we get the reference to Doctor Strange and that nerd on Earth 19999. Fucking told you it was on Earth 616. Suck my dick, Kevin Feige. Rare Sony dub. Rare Sony W. Which is obviously, that's a reference to No Way Home.
Yeah.
But the big main plot point of No Way Home is the Spider-Men are trying to save the characters who were going back to their own universe to die. Strange was just going to send them back to their universe to die. Spider-Man fought Strange so that they could try and save them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's all about saving people that aren't supposed to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is why Miguel O'Hara, who's a more brutal Spider-Man anyway, is so angry with Miles, and why we get Peter B. Parker going, this wasn't part of the agreement, because they were just supposed to get him to understand that he couldn't save who I think is going to be his dad, because everyone has someone they can't save. And he's like, no, fuck that, I'm going to save my dad. And then Miguel's like, no, because you're going to blow the entire universe wide open.
Yeah. I'm picked up on a similar thing. I think what's going to happen is Gwen obviously comes on and is like, "Oh, let's go on an adventure." Basically shows him this place, which is going to reveal to him that there is a way to travel between all these multiverses, which is going to open up this thing of like, oh shit, I can go back in time or do something to save someone, like you say, possibly his dad. And I think you're right. He saves someone, and then they have the point of like, he was obviously meant to get introduced to this place and be able to be a part of it. They wanted him to be a part of it, but then he's used it to save someone, and then that's where the then conflict comes in of like, no, we can't save everyone. We need Uncle Ben to die to become the Spider-Man that we are. Like, you're fucking with stuff that's not meant to be fucked with. I liked the reference to Doctor Strange and the nerd on that was such a great, like, this exists. This is all tied together, even though it's different styles. Like, also playing off that people now understand the multiverse stuff a bit more, so like using that. I and then yeah, it's the whole like they don't like him, they don't want him because he's fucked with shit. So then that's where that conflict comes in. And I think it's gonna end with like him understanding that.
Yes.
And like
We've
coming
got to
to
remember
terms
this
with
is
it.
part 1 of 2, though.
Oh shit, that's true. So maybe it ends with him being the baddie to that group anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. The visuals look phenomenal.
Yeah, as always. I love
They've done such a good job of making Miles just look a little bit older.
Yes.
Because they've not just like made him taller and kept him looking the exact. They've like made him look just a little bit older. And it's really impressively done for like that style of animation to make someone just look 2 or 3 years older.
There was what was there was a little detail that I saw of when I think it's when they are in the school bit, like I'll talking to the teacher, and the mum snaps, and it's like the Puerto Rican flag.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's such a small detail, but such a beautiful, subtle one.
I give Sony a lot of shit.
Well, yeah,
I
we
like
do.
to think generally pretty fairly.
Yeah.
The artists who've worked on these films,
Oh,
you are superheroes, because my god, these films are gorgeous. But yeah, he's failing Spanish, the snap with the Puerto Rican fingers, like, the fuck do you mean he's failing Spanish? We talk Spanish every day.
Yeah. Which I think's funny. And then I have we have to mention it, like the thing of Spider-Man is like he is wanted, and then they all go,
and they all just point at each other.
Which Spider-Man? And they all look at each other across, and then it zooms out, and everyone's pointing at everyone. It's like the meme on time turned up to 11.
Yeah. Would you like
so
to
funny.
hear my rogue shout?
Oh, here we go. I'm listening.
So there's been rumors for a while that Tom Holland does have a cameo in this film, but it's a live action cameo.
Oh.
They are going to use this film or the next film to show us who's going to play live action Miles.
Ooh. Okay, here's my prediction for how Tom Holland's going to be cameoed then. We saw at one point where they're chasing him and they go through a Spider-Man having therapy with another Spider-Man. And they're obviously going to chase him through worlds.
Yeah.
There's going to be one where they might stay cartoon, but they blip through Tom Holland's world.
But yeah, here's my thing. I think similar, but I think when they come into live action, it's just going to be Miles who comes into live action as he's trying to get away from them, and he goes live action as well. And he's like, okay, I've lost him for a minute, takes his mask off. And that's like, maybe we don't actually get to see who it is, but we get that moment of, and then it's like, okay, we see Tom and everyone goes, oh, it's Tom.
What if, imagine then, if they did turn him live action What if they are chasing him and all of the Spider-Men become live-action versions?
No, but here's the thing: if they do that, I need the voice actors to be the people that play them in live action, because I want to see Nick Cage and Oscar Isaac and all of that come flying through as their characters. Like, this is fucking weird.
Just like multiple different types of, and then just like a real life pig in a Spider-Man just comes flying through.
Oh,
But no, you
I'm
could
so
be
hyped
right.
for that
They
film.
could use it to reveal,
Yeah.
especially
June
because they've
2nd cannot come soon enough.
June's stacked.
This is what we got. May is June after May? Fucking hell, it is.
Yes.
It's like I know it's technically 2 months away, but with how jam packed April is, it's like a month away.
Oh yeah, before we know it, it's going to be a month, and then
Yeah,
before we
I
know it,
cannot fucking wait. Maybe that's what we get into in a couple of weeks' time. Here we'll start doing character profiles for loads of different Spider-Men.
yeah, because there's
Just
quite a
fucking
few
go
been
ham on it.
confirmed now, and we, to be
There are
honest,
so many.
this trailer there's even more revealed. So
So yeah, I'll go through and find some interesting Spider-Man variants.
there's probably a few hidden in that the meme shot where they're all pointing at each other.
Yeah. But it was. I mean, the films we've got coming up this year, if they can hit their level, we could be eating good this summer.
We could. Just
And
need a
I mean, I hope they
Star
do.
Wars film to rock up now.
I know we're not going to get one this year, but my
I know.
God, they need to announce one soon.
Just give us a title. That's
Mm,
all I want. Just give us a
no,
title
but
and a
imagine
timeline.
how much of a tease that's going to be.
No, I'll take.
Imagine they go, we've got a trilogy coming, set in the Old Republic. Everyone freezes, and then the name just flashes. Revan.
Oh mate,
The internet might collapse. Fucking Keanu Reeves walks out to announce a Star Wars film. Revan.
Imagine. No, I do hope they announce. Give us something.
Yes, with how well Disney Plus Star Wars stuff has gone, hopefully they realize that Dave and John need to just be involved. Maybe they don't need to be heavily involved, but they need to be there to help.
Nah, it needs to.
Like, okay.
I want it to be. There's a Star Wars trilogy coming, set in this timeline. This is the title of the first one, and it's being directed and written by George Lucas and Dave Filoni. Doing it like.
Do we really trust George Lucas anymore?
I trust.
Honest to
No,
God.
George's name's going to have to be on there because he'll want to oversee it. But he trusts Dave enough. But like, just to have both their names on it, it'll be all Star Wars fans will be like, okay, it's going to be some fan service. Yeah, this will be good for the fans.
The Palpatine trilogy, just to explain how Palpatine returned. I like to think Dave Filoni sees the stuff he doesn't like from Star Wars and just starts rage typing 6,000 word essays on how he's going to fix the stupid fucking plot hole.
I like to think he has like a monthly like coffee with George, and he's like, after the Disney ones came out, they had their first. He's just like, what have you let them do? Look at all these issues we've got now, and he's like, right, well, I'm gonna get to work fixing them. I'm sure you're okay with it, and I'm like, yeah. And then Dave Filoni just goes off and gets to work fixing all the issues. It's like, why have you let these directors do what they want?
It's going to be an interesting one, but don't forget, like, there is a Taika Waititi Star Wars film in the pipeline. But we've not had an update on that in like 18 months though.
No,
so like,
haven't.
fuck knows what's going on. But it'll be interesting.
But yeah.
Anyway, Super Showdown.
Yes.
That
time of the show.
It is indeed. Ra's al Ghul versus Gorilla Grodd.
It's gonna be
in the DC villain final.
Yes.
And it is our last quarter final.
It is.
Ra's has got here as the number 1 seed, beating out Cheetah and Poison Ivy on the way. Both of whom obviously had advantages against him. Gorilla Grodd has got here as the 3rd seed, beating out Mr. Freeze, who had an advantage against him, and Lex Luthor, who he had an advantage against. Obviously, there are no advantages at this late stage of the bracket.
There is not.
It's an interesting one. You've got the Demon's Head, Ra's al Ghul, versus a telepathic gorilla. Comic books are fucking wild.
Yeah, they are. We've had some wild matchups.
Yeah, it's just saying the man who has a little pit that stops him dying, fighting a telepathic gorilla.
And the master of all martial arts.
It's funny to me, I'll be honest. What I want to look at is he's enhanced, yeah. He's very smart, yeah. Martial arts, yeah. Is he still susceptible to telepathic assaults?
Didn't you say highly intelligent people, though, it's harder for Gorilla Grodd?
Yes, but that doesn't mean it might just mean Gorilla Grodd can jumble him up a little bit to make it more difficult for him to think clearly.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm searching. I say he's probably not completely immune, but because he's more intelligent, it will be more difficult for Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah.
But do we think that he can... What's the word? Do we think that he can just kind of throw him off tilt a little? Because you got to remember, Raish's whole thing is he's very smart. He thinks things through.
Mm-hmm.
Are we saying that Gorilla Grodd can use his telepathic abilities to just make it so he can't think as clearly?
Potentially.
Because I give him a fair chance against the gorilla if he can think clearly. Because he is so adept with his sword.
This is the thing. I think if he thinks clearly, his martial arts and fighting knowledge of all different styles, like, I feel like he can take a gorilla down. Not really much problem. Because he'll know, oh, these are the best martial art moves, like, of how a gorilla will fight and like how to be, like, he knows how to use its own strength against it and that sort of thing. But I think with what you're saying, like, if Gorilla Grodd can scramble his brain a bit and like he does it just to the point where like he's not able to think straightly about like what moves and martial arts he should be using, it could very easily be that Gorilla Grodd socks him one and that completely throws him off.
Yes,
like, let's be honest,
that's what we need to make our decision on.
Ra's al Ghul is got the pit, but it doesn't really make him much stronger than...
He is enhanced speed, strength, and agility, but that's just going to mean he's slightly beyond peak human condition.
He's not like superhuman. So taking a right hook from a gorilla ain't going to be nice for him.
No.
I think there's some situations where Ra's al Ghul wins because he gets in enough blows that like throws Gorilla Grodd off.
Yeah, here's the thing. Ra's will by default obviously have his sword. He might just go death by 1,000 cuts with it.
True.
And there is a real chance that Grodd can't scramble his brain enough to do anything other than put Ra's on the back foot. And if Ra's is on the back foot, he will just do that. He'll let the guy lunge at him and just slice, slice, slice.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Yes, Ra's al Ghul is like relies on his intelligence, but at that level of like martial arts, when you are that highly skilled, you're not using your like, it's second nature. Like, he doesn't need
memory. You don't have to think.
No. So I actually think I'm actually leaning to Ra's al Ghul wins purely based on that. Like, even if he scrambles his head, he just goes and fall into muscle memory, and he might take a few extra hits, but like he, like you say, death by 1,000 cuts.
Okay, I can back that. I can absolutely back that.
I just think his fighting prowess is enough to tackle to take on a gorilla, even by just pure muscle memory.
Yeah, and Grodd does have a bit of an ego about him, so he'd probably just see what appears to be a relatively old, frail man, and probably his ego would get him fucked up as well.
Yeah, I can see that.
So there we go. We have our 2 semi-finals.
Mm.
In our Marvel semi-final, we have Ghost Rider versus Ultron.
Which is going to be interesting.
And in our DC final, we have Swamp Thing versus Ra's al Ghul.
Mm.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting to see who makes the final.
Yeah, we're only 3 weeks away from the end of this bracket.
Yeah, we are.
Episode 65 will be the end of this bracket.
Wild. Wild.
But thank you as always for hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
If Hori wants to go see Mario, we might do a little review of Mario next week because I am seeing it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see if I get around to watching it. As it's not unusual.
Yeah. We'll have some more Mandalorian next week.
We will.
But with stuff starting to just take a little dip before the big summer blockbusters, we've got a couple of weeks here to really have some thoughts more hypothetically about what we want to see and what we don't want to see. So make sure you're sticking around for that. Yeah. Make sure you liked, make sure you subscribed. And we'll see you next week.
We will see you next week.
Goodbye.